Hey, if you're new to the serve area or you're just trying to get a serve calendar up for the first time, I'd love to walk you through a really simplified version of a calendar. This is not prescriptive, it's just to get your conversation started within your staff team. Let me run you through it. Across the top, you've got your 4 quarters, your 4 terms of the year. Down the side, you start with the 3 main areas that the serve portfolio or the serve purpose tends to work with. So we're gonna get people serving, you can call that recruit. We're gonna work on a culture of teams, not rosters. So I've just written teams. And we're gonna build more leaders. So I've just written develop there. And let me run you across the top what we've got. I've suggested that maybe in quarter 2 or term 2, you could put intentional effort into getting people off the bench. What I mean by that is people who are in your church, but they haven't been serving for a little while. So you pull up your spreadsheet with all of your church members, you pull up your database, you work out who's been around for a bit, but they're not serving. Some of those will be for very good reasons, but you identify as a team some people that you could chat with to try and get them off the serving bench and onto the field. Then in quarter 4 or term 4, it's time to re-recruit for next year, because remember that people don't just serve indefinitely. A bunch of people are going to need to be re-recruited and re-envisioned for the team, or maybe even moved around a little bit for next year. When we get down to the teams row, I've suggested there a bunch of team training events, maybe around about quarter 1, quarter 2 for the first one, and quarter 3, quarter 4 for the second one. That idea is to get all of the team members together with the team leaders, the area leaders in that particular team, all together in the same place. Because teams, what do? Well, one of the things is they meet together to actually discuss how it's going and where they want to take the ministry in the future. So for example, all of your band has their team meeting and you want to have those probably at least 2 times a year. Now, if you're running the serve portfolio or the serve purpose in your church, you might find that this is already happening. In which case, great, you don't need to do much. But if it's not happening and the band or the welcoming teams, they're not meeting together regularly, it's your turn to work with those teams to get them happening. And then one of the other things that teams do together is they celebrate. So term 4, around about Christmas, that's a great time to have an end of year party to say, hey, we were the welcoming team this year. Look at all these great things that have happened. We've had a good time together. It's been great to be part of this team. Now we're coming down to that 3rd row, the develop, and I'm suggesting there that at different times from when you have your regular team meetings, you try and have some team leader and some area leader training events. Now you can use Ministry Grid to help you with that, but the big principle is to provide intentionally some kind of training to help the people in your church be better team leaders and area leaders. Now we come down to the 4th row, and you've probably got some kind of trainee system in your church, maybe an MTS program, or maybe like a 2-day-a-week trainee, or we need to give some kind of intentional effort and some kind of attention to those people. So think about, when are the conferences that they would automatically go to? Maybe there's like an MTS conference or something that you can send them to. Obviously bring them along to the Reach Australia conference, which is going to happen in May most years. And then by the time you get to the end of term 3, you want to start recruiting trainees, apprentices for the following year. And to wrap all of this out, I've got an always on section at the bottom there. There are a couple of things that you want to just be happening all the time throughout the year. The first one of those is regular serve meetings, where everyone, either on your medium-sized church staff team or just all of the high-capacity volunteers in your church, if you're a smaller church, they're getting together in the room, chatting about, what percentage of our church is serving and where needs more people. So chatting about distribution of people. Additional to that, we're having serve chats regularly. What that means is that when someone new joins the church, we've got a plan to sit down with them and chat through who they are and how they could start serving in the church. Then you want to be having regular training for your trainees. So maybe weekly or monthly, you can actually give them some input to make their traineeship experience worthwhile. And a great idea to cap all of this off is to be having regular Sunday, we call them celebration spots. What that means is you profile someone or a particular event in the church that has really shown a heart for service. So for example, you could get up Greg and you could say, Greg serves in the welcoming team. Greg, what motivates you to do that? And the idea is that through that celebration spot, through that interview, you can keep the temperature up on serving throughout church. So that's a very, very simplified serve calendar. I hope that you can modify that, make it work for your church. And the big thing we're trying to help you with here is to get a plan of attack for the year in the serve area.